Mr. Andrus and Mr. Andrus. This is George and Jerry Andrus. They are right here at the magic meeting, and I'm going to show you the magic meeting. Here are all these people that have come to the Portland Magic Society, and tonight's a very important evening, an evening that we're honoring Jerry Andrus and his life's work in magic. And it will be starting shortly. This young couple and one other fellow, Rob, are the people that did the documentary on Jerry. And they're sitting next to Jerry and George. Here you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please lay down. Mr. Waterman, please leave, just for a minute. Hey everybody, thank you very much for coming out tonight. On behalf of the Portland Society of Magicians and the Society of American Magicians, somewhere around here I've got Mike Roth. Where's Mike at? Okay, Mike's right in the front row. He's the president of SAM and I'm the president of PSM. And tonight, we decided to have a little party, didn't we, Mike? And we decided to invite everybody we knew, and we decided to have that party to honor one person tonight, and that would be Mr. Jerry Andrus. So let's give Jerry a hand. Now we can all go home. Thank you very much. It's the best hand we've ever gotten here. Okay, fantastic. We've got a lot of people here tonight. A lot of people that traveled from a long way away. I believe we have somebody from California here tonight. California, right? You get the prize for traveling the furthest. We have people from Seattle. We have Brian Cook that came down. We have Lee Asher from Eugene. We've got a lot of guests here. If you're a guest, please raise your hand. All right, fantastic. A lot of people. A lot of people here, Jerry, to honor you tonight. I'm going to read a couple of things here in a little while, and let me tell you the events that are going to transpire tonight. If you look around the walls, you'll see different posters with Jerry Andrus' picture on them, or some of his tricks that are blown up. If you look outside, you'll see a lot of his work that he did. A lot of these are compliments of Dwayne Duvall, who brought some of his old archives in. Jerry was on the cover of Genie magazine. He was on the cover of Munn. He was on the cover of Linking Ring. So he's got a lot of background. We've got Tom Waldrop here, who's going to show you something from over 50 years ago. We've got some other folks here that are going to say some very kind words. We've got George Olson here, who George Olson reached out and touched a lot of the magicians in the community, and there's a few messages from some of your colleagues spread throughout the United States. But what I'd like to do is get this show going, and I'm going to read a couple of things. Some magicians can't be here tonight. One of those magicians that cannot be here tonight is Di Vernon. And Di Vernon had some words to say about Jerry Andrus a while ago. Di Vernon, the legendary Di Vernon, said about Jerry Andrus, "I've been thinking of every superlative I am acquainted with and find them entirely inadequate to describe the many revolutionary ideas incorporated in the magic of Jerry Andrus." I think that's very profound when you think about it, as Di Vernon is one of the most historic magicians of our time. The great Blackstone said about Jerry Andrus, "May I compliment you on the best close-up magic that I have ever seen." Think about that, folks. The great Blackstone saying the best close-up he has ever seen is by this man sitting right in front of me. Unbelievable. Give him another hand. Gene Gordon said, "He will fool you more than you have ever been fooled before." Eddie Cleaver said, "Thanks for putting the magic back in magic." Martin Gardner, the author of many books and a monthly column in Scientific America, said, "Never have I watched a close-up magician who more consistently and completely knocked me over. Jerry Andrus is an original. His methods are utterly unlike those of any magicians in their offbeat subtleties. They're crazy but clean moves and their total absence of any need for misdirection. His effects have to be seen to be not believed. You're going to have a chance tonight during the Magic and Fellowship time that you'll see in your program later on to bond with some magicians from out of town, to talk to Jerry, and to go out there and see some Jerry Andrus props, as well as some videos of Jerry. Jerry's table act that he did in 1960 is fantastic. It's a work of art, and it's right out there, and you can watch it. So without any further ado, what I'd like to do now is open the floor and invite Michael Roth, the president of the Society of American Magicians, up here to talk to you all a little bit. And we're going to have some other people speak. And I'd like to say this, folks. This is a program that was written. And the program that was written was not written with just Ken McGee, Michael Roth, Dwight Vance, and a few other people to speak. If there's something you'd like to say, we would love to hear it. Because tonight to honor Jerry. Let's give Michael Roth a hand.
Thank you. I am extremely honored to be here, and I'll just provide a few brief remarks. I'd like to say something very profound or very funny, but I'm not that great a speaker, so you'll have to bear with me. But I would like to thank all of you for coming here and for being here, and especially to our honored guest Jerry and to his brother George. Jerry joined SAM 59 on November 15th, 1956. He's an honorary life member of SAM 59 and of SAM National. He's received many, many awards, most of which I don't even know about, except that they're some of the very top awards worldwide in magic. He has put SAM 59 and PSM, Portland and Albany and Oregon, on the map. Magicians worldwide know where we are because of the life and works of Jerry Andrus. While traveling in Europe last summer, I had the good fortune to meet an SAM International Ambassador, Tony Brook, in Porto, Portugal. And when he asked where I was from, I said, Portland, Oregon. And he said, oh, isn't that near where Jerry Andrus lives? And I said, well, I live about 85 miles north of Jerry, but he's a member of our club. And he said, oh, do you know him? And I said, well, I met Jerry a couple times. And he said, wow, are you lucky? But to put it simply, Jerry gives magic a great name. I met Jerry a few years ago, first when he attended a SAM 59 meeting, and then later at the Northwest Magic Jamboree. I had read a few things about Jerry, and I had hoped to talk with him and meet him. I prepared myself to meet somebody who I probably had no business meeting because of his stature as a magician. But as many of you know, Jerry is quite a gentleman. He's elegant and he's eloquent, and he shows the greatest respect for inquiring minds, with the tremendous, those without any magical knowledge and those with the most tremendous knowledge of arcane and obscure magic. In fact, after talking with Jerry and sharing a meal at the Magic Jamboree, I was so impressed with Jerry's humility and kindly straightforwardness. He accepted me for who I was without any preconceived ideas for what I said or brought to the discussion. He was and is very approachable because his inherent questioning mind and his respect for each and every one of us. Jerry Andrus is in fact a living example of the SAM objectives, as we are this evening when we join together, our clubs and our friends, to collaborate in bestowing a special honor upon Jerry. It is possible that Jerry might say we have made the wrong conclusions for the right reasons. But bear in mind that tonight is no preconceived illusion. I know in my heart, and it is my express hope, that we've come together to make the right conclusions for the right reasons. The objectives of SAM that particularly come to mind are that a member should strive to promote harmony among those interested in magic and further elevate the magician's art, to show a spirit of humility while recognizing all persons here as compeers and as fellow magicians. It follows that magical methods, presentation skills, and other aspects of the compeer art will be shared amongst members. And lastly, that we promote the welfare of any magician and of all kindred societies. On behalf of SAM 59, and with a humble and appreciative spirit, Jerry, we thank you for who you are and what you have done for magic.
Anybody recognize this? Zone Zero, one of Jerry Andrus's inventions. I have no idea how to work it, but I've seen it work a lot. But they say something like this, and you reach in, and you pull out, and I guess you pull out just another yellow piece of paper. And I'm going to read from Steve. Could you hold on to that for a second? Let's get back to die burning. In my opinion, Jerry Andrus has a perfect understanding of the difficult art of deception. It is seldom that one meets so accomplished a performer. Once again, another quote by Die Vernon. Our next speaker is a very well-known magician throughout the state of Oregon as well as in this region. He is former president of this club, and presidents of every other club I've ever heard of, the PCAM and all sorts of stuff, and we all know him as Mr. Dwight Vance. And when he was younger, we knew him as the Great Bandini. So Mr. Dwight Vance, come on. Our next guest. Come on up, Dwight. Dwight, if you want to stay there, that's fine. We'll try that again. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Dwight Vance.
He's one of the very few who knows about that. That was a long time ago. And I told somebody, Portland magician back when I was in high school, the name I was going by. And he said, why? What have you done that's great? And I said, nothing. And he said, drop it. And so I did. Ken found that somewhere along the way. Probably in a book or something. I don't remember what you ran across that had that on.
It was when we had the special night for you, as a matter of fact, when you showed us your scrapbook in your earlier days of magic, and you left one of those cards in. Maybe one day we'll blow up one of those and put them all in.
Maybe I go home and blow them up now.
Better lock my car when I started as well.
That'll solve that problem. Well, I've known Jerry for a few years, and I'm glad to see this. This is great. We were going to try to do this a year ago or something. Jerry kept leaving town for one reason or another. We didn't know if he'd be here, so it got postponed, and then finally we stopped doing these for a while. We thought it was a good time to get back at it. Jerry's magic has always been impressive. It's always been an inspiration. People sit down and show anybody who wants to learn how to do it, and help them get it done right, if that's possible. He's the only one I know that can do it right. And I lived 10 miles from him for years, and I had everything that I could get my hands on of his, and I just, anytime I went to a magic thing, Jerry, we often went together. And so Jerry was doing the stuff, and I said, well, why bother? So you could read about it, and that was fine, and then let Jerry do the magic. So that's, Zone Zero, I thought, oh, that's something I could use, but I didn't. I still have one. He's come up with a lot of great stuff. And if you haven't seen these yet, these are the latest incarnations of safety pin tricks. And Andrew steals you in. Chuck Lee just reprinted and made them easy to work out of the way Jerry told him the book should be made. So you can lay it out on the table and look at the pictures and follow the directions. Jerry's always been a great teacher of magic and a good friend of magic. And we're just all happy we had a chance to know.
As I look around, I see a lot of people, some people I didn't have a chance to say hi to, but I see Jim Pace made it in. Jim just got back from Europe, right, Jim? You were in England, over at Blackpool. We're great to have you here tonight. Mark Benheimer came here from Magic Fest. Obviously, we have Stan Cramian here over in the corner. And as I look around, I see a lot of other people that were really glad to Eugene. I got Lee earlier, as a matter of fact. We got Lee Asher here from Eugene. Check your pockets when you leave, everybody. And we got a lot of people from Eugene, and we're going to talk about them later on.
After they leave.
Genie Magazine. Genie Magazine. This was October of 1989. Jerry was on the cover. Box Impossible. Then we have Mum Magazine from the Society of American Magicians. Mum, September of 1958. I find that interesting as I was born in August of 1958. But there was no mention of my birth in this. Jerry's on the cover of it, and somehow here we are today, almost 50 years later. Our next speaker is a gentleman who is a good friend of all of ours and belongs to both the Society of American Magicians as well as the Portland Society of Magicians. Originally from Chicago, and he's got a lot of experience in magic. He used to be the house magician at Quacker's Restaurant. And what George Olson, our next guest, did, he went on the Genie website and he sent a message out to a lot of folks. And let's see what happened. George, why don't you come on up? Give him a hand.
First one was written by a fellow that his grandpa had a park named after him over in Bend. It says, "Dear Jerry, in 1972, a few days before Christmas, an 11-year-old boy looked you up in the phone book in Eugene, Oregon. He and his father were driving up from the Los Angeles area to Tacoma, Washington to spend Christmas with his family. His mom had traveled by plane. You answered the phone, and the little boy boldly announced that he'd like to meet you. You invited him over to your house without hesitation. The boy and his father were of your kindness to me as a young enthusiast 35 years ago. From all that I've heard, this is the kind of person that you are. Thank you for inspiring a young boy so many years ago and for all your contributions to magic." And here is a photograph, Jerry, of that young man, Clay Shevlin, and you from 1972. Another acquaintance of yours who owns H&R Books, Richard Hatch, he said, "In June 1990, my maternal grandfather celebrated his 90th birthday at the home of one of my uncles in Eugene, Oregon. I flew in and out of Portland with my 3-year-old daughter and 7-month-old son in tow, as my wife, a violinist, had performing commitments that did not permit her to come. I called Jerry Andrus, who had no reason to know me, and he invited me to stop by his place on my way back to the airport after the celebration. Another aunt and uncle drove my kids and me, and we all met Jerry at a local coffee shop where he amazed us with some of his original card work at extremely close quarters. He then led us to his Castle of Chaos, where we experienced his mind-warping optical illusions, seeing our own skin crawl and photos of clouds begin to move. Among many other things, it was truly magical, and I cherish the memories of that experience. Many have commented in the past on Jerry's devotion to truth-telling and honesty, but I can also attest to his unbounded, selfless generosity toward a stranger, whose only point of reference was a shared humanity and love of magic. Jerry is a national treasure. I only wish my kids had been older so they could have experienced and remembered the wonder and amazement that my uncle, aunt, and I shared. Thanks to Jerry Richard Hatch." And there's a couple others on there, Jerry.
Thank you very much, George Olson. I appreciate it. Our next speaker, if he's ready for us. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, former president of the Society of American Magicians and Northwest Regional VP for SAM, and noted magician who's been around a long time. He's got a very interesting story to tell us about Jerry Andrus, as well as himself. Let's welcome Tom Waldrop.
I really came to enjoy the event. Now I'm sweaty. I noticed in the back corner there was a little picture of safety pin tricks, $5. Those must have been bought about 1970. Because when I worked for Star Magic Company, which was based in Portland in the early 50s, I worked for that for Stan Payne as the packager and shipper, and we were selling the safety pin tricks right out of Jerry's workshop for $1.50, and that was about 1950, 51. Strange things. When I got involved with Portland Society of Magicians, I was just a little snot-nosed kid. And now I'm just a snot-nosed senior citizen. I was 14 years old, and Stan Greer was president of the club at that time, and a gentleman named Ted Hall was proposing to this organization, again, a number of years ago, that I'd be allowed to join the club. At that time, the rules read you had to be 21 or older. And I didn't quite qualify for that, even as well as I could fake it. And the club did eventually, in the next month, change their constitution to allow, had no age limits, but you had to have at least 2 years experience. Well, when I was 14, I already had 3 years experience and had been out doing shows and getting money and all kinds of stuff. So the upshot of that was the next month, there were a number of people who had applied for membership with this organization and who were voted in that night. We all had to leave the room, you know, like you do when they do the voting. And I don't think I can remember most of these gentlemen, but it was Bob Benheim, Ralph Thomas, I can't remember that name, Dave McGowans, Shelley McGowans, Ted Michaels, Tom Waldrop, and Jerry Andrus. The date of that event was March 12, 1950, exactly 57 years ago.
Wow.
And that's my share.
It was the book that sold for $5, not the trick that sold for $5. And I got one for 20. Do I hear 25? 25. Okay. Next, our next speaker is whoever would like to speak. Do I have any volunteers that would like to say a couple of words? A memory of Jerry, a good story. Hey, Kip, why don't you come on up and tell us a quick story here?
Least I could do. I met Jerry by going to Hawaii, and I was performing there, and Jimmy Yoshida said, "You really ought to meet Jerry Andrus. He lives just about 40 minutes to the north of you." So I showed up at a Eugene Mysticians, thought I was the hottest magician, did my stuff, and this man came up to me and said, "You're doing it wrong." I was. He'd never seen the trick. I thought I had invented it. He made it a lot better. Since then, let's jump ahead. I owned a magic shop in Eugene, Oregon. We decided we were going to have magic lectures come. When Jerry Andrus did the magic lecture, we made it a full-day event. We made it a potluck. Everybody got to come and eat. We had all sorts of prizes. People that were warring with each other. There were feuds going on in the magic community. I know that you guys don't think that magic has politics in it, but occasionally it does. They all came together for Jerry Andrus. He was so smart that he took some people aside and he trained them ahead of time in the lecture notes that he was going to be handing out at this full-day event. So he would break. He would do a set for about 20 minutes, then he'd break, and everybody, including Jerry, would go around and filter through the audience and made sure that everybody had decks of cards and everybody could do it. I mean, that's how thorough he was. You know, jump ahead to me hearing the phone call that says, "You gotta go over to Ed Deardorff's house. Jerry Andrus has got this new book, it's called Card Control, but he's not sure, he wants to try it out on you guys first, so let him practice on you guys with the lecture." So we rushed over there and we got him, and he said that he was gonna put a really low number on mine way back when, and he was gonna add in some of the illustration pages. We still haven't gotten around to that. Last little story. Jump ahead to the PCAM convention. And it was probably about midnight. I'm going in, I'm doing all the lectures. I come out and I find Jerry Andrus with my wife Kate over there. And the two of them are walking like this. I didn't know what they were doing, but it's the Magic Eye books that where you guys see the three-dimensional, and Jerry figured out that you can see it in any pattern, and so Kate's following him around. Well, since then, Jerry has read Kate poetry, and I listen to it and I say, no clue, and she says, I get it completely. So a little bit earlier, I'll end on that note. Dwight Van says, well, maybe she could explain it to Jerry then.
Very much, Kip. Appreciate it. Great story. A lot of you have been getting raffle tickets handed out. If somebody does not have a raffle ticket, let us know. We'll take care of that in just a little while. We'll get you a raffle ticket. We're going to raffle off a few things tonight. One of the things we're going to raffle off is all the large posters here that we've had enlarged. I think if you're real nice and say nice things to Jerry, he'll probably autograph them for you too by the end of the evening. Additionally, we're going to raffle off a DVD by Reed McClintock. I was hoping to raffle off a couple of tickets to Scott Anderson's show tonight or later on this month in Salem. Additionally, we're going to auction off one or two of Jerry's optical illusions here that he's created. With that being said, I have another speaker on the house.
Kenny, do they get the duct tape to stick it up on their wall?
They get the duct tape to glue your lips together. And you can do that duck impression you always do. Anyway. Thank you, Dan. Thanks. All right, do we have any other guest speakers? Anybody else that would like to say a word or two? Hart! Improv. And let me say this real quick. For those of you who are going to do a quick trick at showtime, I'd ask you while Hart's walking up here, please slowly but surely quickly move over there so we can expedite things and things will go very rapidly. So,
all right, I got no. Lee hit me and I was like, you know what? He's a.
Well, hit him back.
Never mind. Yeah. Well, basically, I do actually have a quick story about Jerry. And when I started attending the Mysticians Club in Eugene when I was like 15, and I just got into magic. And
who got you into magic?
Kip got me into magic. The previous speaker got me into magic, actually. I met him in high school in my Spanish class, Spanish teacher. Anyway, started attending Mysticians that he told me about, and I meet Jerry Andrus there. And I go there a few times, and after the meeting I had mentioned that my family and myself, we were going down to California to go to Disneyland, visit some family, and Jerry overhears me. He says, well, I'm going to be down at the Magic Castle. Have you ever been to the Magic Castle? I'm like, the Magic what? I just got into magic. So he tells me about this wonderful place called the Magic Castle, and we arranged a time on a Sunday, because you could only go there on a Sunday, because I was 15 years old, and I call him up on the morning that we had talked about it, a little earlier I think than he'd expected, and it was like 7, 8 o'clock a.m. and we probably had a long night of magic, and oh, yeah, okay, I'll meet you down there right away, you know. So met him down there a little bit later, and there's Jerry waiting out front for me and my whole family. Gets us in. We don't have to wait in line for anything, okay, none of the shows. He's got everything ready for us there, and it was first-class treatment, and my family had a great time, and it helped to really spark my interest in magic, and that's what I do part-time today. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you very much, Hart. We enlarged this from the June 1967 edition of Mum Magazine. You'll see some folks such as Stan Greer, Leo Haglund, Jerry Andrus, and Stan's right in the back right now. And as a matter of fact, Stan was president of the Portland Society of Magicians the night that you and Jerry got sworn in, according to the records. So good job, Stan. You brought in some good talent back then. All right. Now, this was in the magazine, and this was the special issue back from June of 1967, and it's a special issue, Portland, Oregon Assembly number 59. So, once again, we didn't get on the cover of magazines by just having average magicians. That has a lot to do with the talent, the community, the magic community that was around. Our next speaker is the gentleman that I think traveled the farthest. From what city in California would it be?
We're Fairfax, California.
Fairfax, California. Remember
that's
that,
where I'm
because
from.
you do have to
Yeah.
get home.
Thank you. Yeah, that's where I'm going. Fairfax,
Barry, why don't you
California.
come on up here? Let's give Barry
Okay.
a hand.
Well, you folks see the camera here, and I was up here, 2-3 months ago with Jerry, and I had a camera then, and I've been documenting Jerry for, 10 years or so, something like that.
75.
I met him in 75. Oh, met him in 75, and we've been buds for that many years. And we've had a lot of incredible experiences. I was the last person ever to be a house guest at the Castle of Chaos. In order for me to be a house guest at the Castle of Chaos, we had to clear enough space on the floor for my sleeping bag to go down. There's not enough space for that. I am now doing Jerry's website at jerryandrus.org. We're in process, and it will be evolving fairly fast over the next few months. So if you have a contribution that you'd like to have in the website, you think that we'd like to see, email me. You can email me through Jerry or at barrybrilliant at barrybrilliant.com. Okay. I wanted to show something, if it's all right with you. I fooled Jerry Andrus once on Jerry's trick.
Was that by finding a place to sleep on his floor?
No. But once I said to Jerry, I said, Jerry, I got something wrong with my hand. Remember this?
Not yet.
Oh, I got something wrong with my hand, and it hurts in here, and it hurts on my knuckles. It hurts. Every one of my knuckles is really hurting. But when I squeeze here, it hurts because I pull this stuff out. Okay? Now, this is Jerry Andrus's trick, and I actually did it once for him with a billiard ball and fooled the heck out of him. And he tells everybody all the time how Barry fooled him on this
Absolutely.
guy. Fooled him, flat out fooled him. I innovate, right? I don't do his acupuncture routine with it. I use a light ball, and I do a routine with light, right? And tell people about how light and airy it is. But yeah, I do. Here. Would you hold that light up high? Up high. I found out that this is a laser pointer. I found out if you push it in, it only works when the light's off. I don't know why. But if you put it in there, you kind of, yeah, you can grab it. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah. Just an innovative way of using his concepts, merging it with other concepts. Think about how you can extend his illusions. That's what he wants. He wants you to take his ideas and run with them. Use them as the base and grow. And I'll see you guys online.
Hey, Barry. Barry, as the gentleman that traveled the furthest,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to give you this blown up mum cover.
Oh, how
Right.
fabulous.
And that's the travel the longest to the Achievement Award
Oh, thank you.
gathering tonight.
Thank
So
you very much.
Yes, sir.
At some time, I would like to make a short few comments.
You know, I think we're gonna have all night for you, and I'll take care of that.
A few comments. We're in
I'm glad
trouble.
to hear that, as a matter of fact, because I was running out of things to say here real quick. So I'll tell you what, let's do this. So real first, before we get Jerry up here, we've got some people that want to do a couple of tricks for you. And Barry got us off to the good start there. And the message that Barry delivered is very, very profound if you think about it. It's very, very brilliant, as a matter of fact. But take what he's taught you and take it another level, move it on, continue to grow in magic. We've all talked about Jerry tonight, and it reminds me of an interesting story, a very short story that Greg Moreland, a member of the club and cruise ship magician, said about Jerry and his honesty and his integrity. And it's on a lighthearted note that I'd like to bring this up, and then I'm going to introduce our first performer for Showtime Magic tonight. And it's Greg Moreland's story about Jerry Andrus is such an honest man that if he videotaped a TV show, he would not fast forward through the commercials. That was Greg Moreland's story. And I believe it's true. Our first Showtime performer. If there's not anybody else that would like to say a couple words, but keep in mind we're going to have a lot of time to chat later on. Do you want to say something?
I'll say something. I'm not a magician or a member of any of these societies. I'm Adrian Leverett. This is my husband Eric, and we and our friend Rob made the Thing of Wonder movie that's playing out there. And it was just our incredible good fortune and pleasure to spend time with Jerry working on that film, and I just wanted to tell the story of how it started. Jerry's also involved with an organization called Oregonians for Rationality, which my father also happens to be a part of, and he and a bunch of his buddies got to go on a field trip down to the Castle of Chaos, and they came back just bowled over, amazed, so giddy with excitement. This is my 50-year-old dad getting so excited about this, and he said, "You just have to meet this guy. You just have to make a movie about him." So I called up Jerry and explained who I was and how I heard of him, and I have no background in magic, certainly appreciate it, but didn't know about what a famous and well-regarded magician Jerry was, and so I tried to make my case for meeting him, and so I was waiting to hear his answer, and I've all these stories about how generous that he is about letting people come see him is true, but I guess I must have given the wrong impression, because he said, "Well, I don't know how I feel about you coming down here. How old are you? Because I don't usually let kids in the house." So he met us at the truck stop instead, and we managed to convince him, and spent the next year and a half traveling on weekends down to the Castle of Chaos. And in addition to how incredible and his magic and illusions are, and clearly what a genius he is in that realm, we were also just so amazed to meet someone with such incredible integrity and strength of character and generosity of spirit in conveying the wonderful things about him and sharing them with all of us. So thank you, Jerry. And it was also indeed an extremely great gift to meet his brother George and spend time with him. We really consider it one of the greatest things that have happened to us. Thank you.
The movie she was referring to is A Thing of Wonder, if I'm not mistaken, and this is one of the original posters, and that will be out there on display as well for everybody to view. As well as we have film clips from that movie playing on the screen out there. Now, I can understand why you didn't want kids in the house, because Barry Brilliant was sleeping on the floor.
That's right, that's right.
Let's get our first performer up here, Mr. Lauren Pankratz. Give Lauren a hand.
I think most of you know that Jerry Andrus does optical illusions, and I don't know how many of you have seen his optical illusions. This is one of his that he's created, and if you haven't seen this, you really do need to see this. How many have seen this, by the way? Okay, now I'm going to come over here. You really need to see this, and I don't want to spend a lot of time with it, but if you close one eye, cover one eye, and look at this, these things will turn so you see two large nuts. You see that? You got it? Come on.
Yeah, I see one.
Listen, I'm a psychologist. I make the diagnoses, okay? Okay, so you see two nuts there, and an interesting thing happens if you go through here. You can tell when somebody catches it. You got to watch this. It goes right around the corner. Now, maybe afterwards you want to come and ask me for this, but I want to tell you that what happens is that you have this illusion of bending, so that when you put your in through, you can see that just bent. I'll turn it a little bit more this way. Okay. Okay, once over here.
Hold it up.
Now, the interesting thing about this is that Jerry and I proposed to OMSI. You know, OMSI on the Willamette River, and across the river is if you go directly across from OMSI is River Place. So all tables are out there and people walk, and it's a popular place, particularly in the summer. I got Jerry Andrus, and we proposed to OMSI, when they were just building that, we proposed to build one of these, a huge one. And what was going to happen was that a fire hose of water would squirt through the first nut, and as you watched it, the water would bend and turn around and go through the other one. So you have the illusion of water just squirting through the sky and suddenly making a bend and going around and through the other one. And the architects were absolutely bowled over. They just went nuts over this. Unfortunately, OMSI at that point had a big crisis of money, so none of this happened. We also had Jerry also showed them another illusion in which people, again, from across the river on River Place, if you looked across over at OMSI, you would see a building over there. And this building was an optical illusion. But the effect was you would see people walking along, and suddenly as they came to the building, they would walk straight up the building and into a window and disappear. and they did, at first they didn't believe this. They just could not believe this could happen. And then he had some small examples, and he showed a brief video that it actually could happen. They could actually build this. There's lots of optical illusions that Jerry has around the world in museums, and it's really a shame that we don't have more of them in Oregon. There are lots of things that Jerry has thought up that we'll never know about because his mind has been so full of amazing ideas, and it's a shame that we won't see more of them.
Thank you, Dr. Pennington. Our next performer came up from Eugene, Mr. Steve Peterson. Correction, Corvallis. It's that whole duck beaver thing going on here. I'm sorry.
We'll take a jump of it. We appreciate it.
This is really a close-up trick. A couple of weeks ago, I wasn't sleeping, and this idea just came to me, and I thought you might enjoy this. A story with a $50 an English penny. A fellow named Kennedy went to Europe to attend a coin collectors convention, and he happened upon a beautiful princess from England named Penny. Overtaken by her charms, he went up behind her, turned her around real quick and gave her a big fat kiss. And he instantly turned into a frog. She went around about her business like nothing had happened, and he remained the ultimate ugly American.
How many more performers do we have here? We've got Tommy, and anybody else want to perform tonight? Okay. Tommy, we're going to have you, but before Tommy walks on, I do want to say, so I don't forget, I'd like to thank Mr. Dave Slay. Dave is a cameraman in the back of the room. I've known David for a total of about 12 hours. We filmed a small special today with the Hessen boys and Reed McClintock and myself on Tualatin Valley Community TV. And Dave was the staff producer at the TV station. I told him the dilemma that I was in, that our videographer got sick today, and he raised his hand and said he'd just come out here and film this for us. So thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate it. Support your cable TV. Tommy Yin, come on up.
So yeah, I just want
want to tell a story. It's about two magicians. Okay, it's about 50 or I think it's 80 years before. It's a one great magician. I will play a two role today. There's one day they kind of like arguing. Okay, one magician is a Houdini. It's kind of like the really the ego guy. Very every say he came a lot of things. He say, okay, any magic trick I saw 3 times, I know how to do it. Okay, and then there's a one person show him this trick. Exactly, he threw him about 7 times, and he still don't know how to do it. But that guy is a professor, so I will be a professor today. Do you know why? Because I have glasses. That trick is easy. He say, okay, he pick a card, he put a card on the middle in the deck. So he just slapping the hand just like that, click, 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 click. The card will jumping up on the top. It's not hard to do, but but this trick is funny. They do about 7 times, they don't know idea. Okay, so how about I ask you, can you say stop anytime? Just stop right there. Can you take a look for that? Okay, so everyone, okay, include me.
Oh, include you?
Yes. Okay, it's easy enough. I tell you how to do that. They just put the card in the middle of the deck, just like that, and then slap the hand just like that. The card will jumping up on the top. Okay, and then this is a crazy trick they do again. They do it over a time. They do it 7 times. They still jumping up on the top. So until about 3 weeks later, Houdini actually write a letter for the professor, say, don't do that trick for my husband. He wake me up every night. So and then there's about a month later, and Houdini meet the professor again. He asked them, can you see that trick again? Because I cannot figure out. I want to see that. I say, no problem. And then the professor gave the deck. Say, no, not your deck. I need mine. Okay, I think it's maybe something tricky on your deck, so I use my deck. Okay, and then he opened the deck. It's a blue deck. You say you can do every deck, right? Okay, he say, can you do any card? Any card is okay. I say, the professor say, no problem. Any card, how about I just randomly one card, about 5 of diamond, and then he say no problem, and then he try to read the wet deck and get the 5 of diamond, and then Houdini say no way, I want to use my 5 of diamond because I think you may tricky, and then professor said okay, give me your blue deck. I said no, not your blue deck. I need to take my deck in my boxes. Okay, I just someone the hand hold for me because I want to use my deck. I want to use my work deck. They're putting the 5 of diamond in the inside of the deck. Oh, wait a second. Because you know why? Because it's a different color. Houdini want to see how they can do it on the top. We just only have 3 ways. One is just to make the magically moving that one on the top. Or second, maybe they cut the deck or whatever. He want to see something because it's different color. And then professor said, no problem. Put the deck inside. Look like that, slap the finger. The card still turning on the top. But the funny thing is, this is a red deck. And then he hold professor hand. No, I don't want to see a red deck. I want to see the blue deck on my blue 5 of diamond. And then professor said, hey, are you okay? And then Houdini want to grab the deck and say, hey, no. If I slap the deck, touch the deck again. So if the blue deck in right there, my red deck should be
Three letters describe that trick. W-O-W. Wow. Great job, Tommy. One more hand. Our next speaker here, folks, will be one of the longtime members of the Portland Society of Magicians, as well as the Society of American Magicians. And he is a very well-known magician for this region, as well as the Pacific Northwest and other parts of the world. I'd like to have Mr. Dwayne DeVall come on up here, and he's got a little something for Jerry. Come on up, Dwayne.
I've known Jerry for at least 50 years, and what distinguishes him probably from every other magician I've known, we've never had an argument in 50 years.
That's because they've never spoke to one another.
But Jerry has been, since I first met him, he's been unique. I saw him do his initiation at the Portland Society at the Women's Club, and I believe he did his routine with the silver dollar. And most people put 12 props on the table and run through, and Jerry did his with that most unusual person. He does photography, he does sculpting, he does everything under the sun, and what's unique about him is that everything he does well, better than most. What really makes Jerry different from somebody else is that other magicians, Jerry says, "Can I show you a trick?" And all the other magicians say, "Can I sell you a trick?" The last thing in Jerry's mind is selling something. He simply wants to perform. He is every man, the common folks man. He's never above anybody. He relates to everybody that ever sees him. Very most unique trait. To highlight tonight, we have this that we would like to present to Jerry. And it says, the Portland Society of Magicians wishes to honor member Jerry Andrus for his years of service to our group and his many contributions to the art of magic, presented March 3rd, 2007. Jerry?
Jerry, look this way. Thank you. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Frederick Ashton with the lens. What I'd like to ask now, folks, is if Jerry, could you please come up here for a moment? And George, if you would, you can hold that for Jerry. Thank you. And if you could hold these for Jerry as well, that would be appreciated. I'd like to have Michael Roth back up here, and Mike's got a few things to say, Jerry.
It's quite interesting how this all came about. Last fall, I believe it was, the board of SAM 59 had decided that we wanted to give some kind of a memento each year to members that we would distribute when we distribute our annual directory of members in the society, and we decided that we wanted to do a coin. But we couldn't decide what to put on the coin. And then all of a sudden, through cooperative brainstorming, we thought, let's honor those people who have given a lot of service to the club and to magic, and have been exemplary of the ideals of a magician and SAM. And we decided we would honor our life members. And naturally, the first person that we suggested to be on our first coin would be Jerry Andrus. So we began to get bids and everything, and we were a little bit behind because the companies would take a while to send their estimates back to us, and then we were approaching the deadline to get it out with our directory, and Ken McGee, a former board member, said, well, would SAM 59 consider collaborating with PSM on the coin in honoring Jerry Andrus? After all, he's been a member of PSM also for about as long or longer. And pretty much unanimously, the board responded yes. So we are going to mint a coin in honor of Jerry Andrus, and it will be done and out in about 2 to 3 weeks, and it will be distributed to both PSM and to SAM 59 as a collaborative venture. And we decided through all of this that we wanted to give Jerry a Lifetime Achievement Award. to Jerry Andrus on behalf of the Portland Society of Magicians and Assembly Number 59 of the American Society of Magicians and all of your friends in magic. We are honored to present you with this Lifetime Achievement Award for your contributions to magic, and we thank you for all you have given us.
There was been several occasions when at a convention of some kind, people have seen straight people out in the hall walking along like this. With a pen. Well, many years ago I noticed that if you have a pattern that repeats itself, like a picket fence, and if you converge up here, you can get it to look like it's close to you, or if you misconverge, you can get it to look like it's further away. And the pattern on the floor is separated, and you hold the pen up here. Well, I'll use my 2 feet, well, I can't use my 2 feet, I can't bend it backwards. If there's a repeated pattern along here like this, that far apart, if I hold the pen up, if I hold the pen up here and stare at the pen, if I bring it up, I'll reach a point where this is in the same position in my right eye as this is in my left eye. And then you can get them to fuse. And then you can walk along. And also, one time at a convention, they saw this guy, me that is, walking, great big long room, walking along like this. But what it was is the pattern repeated itself on the wall, and so it looked like it was here, and so that's okay. I need to mention that when I'm dead and gone, I think I'm dead and gone. I don't believe there is an afterlife. I could be absolutely wrong. I don't believe there is. But I've cherished all of these years I have, and I would certainly encourage you to cherish the years you have, because there's what could be more wonderful than be a live human being. Thank you all for being friends for all these many years. Thank you very much.